Hello and welcome to the path to $1 million. Let's look at today's Bitcoin picture right away. Beginning with this 1 day time frame for Bitcoin, as we see a very important danger light flashing on this 1 day time frame right now. First, let's look into that. Then we'll move on to the shorter time ranges. There is a hidden bearish divergence that will probably become clear in about 7 hours. This is the danger sign I'm talking about. If you see a red light, this is it. For those who don't know, a secret bearish divergence happens when the price of Bitcoin has lower highs and the RSI value has higher highs. However, it is still a negative divergence even though it is a little different from a normal one. Most of the time, these hidden bearish divergences happen during a bigger downtrend. And it's clear that Bitcoin has been doing that for months today. Another thing is this over-the-top bullish divergence that was proven here a few weeks ago. At the time, I said that this could be a sign that the price is about to turn around, especially since we had just bounced off the bottom of the falling channel, which is a support level. However, since we confirmed that the positive divergence was too strong, there has been an 18 to 19% rise in the price. That's why I'm obviously very happy with how this turned out. But since this hidden bearish divergence might become real later today, we need to start talking about a possible turn to the downside, and of course the point at which this hidden bearish divergence stops being valid. First, let's talk about this point of no longer being valid. One way to show that this secret bearish divergence is not true is to see Bitcoin break this trend line here in the price action. Another way would be for this RSI to move above this trend line. This would also show that the secret bearish divergence is not true. However, you should be aware of and careful with these divergences because you can just redraw it if this RSI makes another higher high. It would still be the same unless we actually close above 64.2 to 64.3 thousand, in which case both the price and the RSI would be making higher highs and nothing would be happening. That point, there is no split and the trend is only going up. I'm keeping an eye on this. And if you want to know what I think is going on in the charts right now, make sure you join the Road to 1 Million group on Discord. There's a link to this down below the movie. Not only that, but there are almost 2,000 traders in this group who share their technical analysis and talk about trading in general. If you want to read my real analysis, it's also free, but you have to do a few things which I've written down right here. So once you've joined and been verified in the Discord group, all you have to do is go to this trading signals access channel right here. If you do these 3 things, you'll be able to use my trading tips. This is already being done by a lot of people. In this case, you can see it from one of my most recent signs. It's clear that some people are making good trades here. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, come check it out. After that, let's look at Bitcoin over shorter periods of time. Before I start, I'd like to kind of sum up this weekend, since it's already over. On Friday, it was pretty clear that we had bought too much. I also said at the time that I thought prices would likely move back and forth between up and down and sideways around this Fibonacci golden spot. It was also said that the RSI would go back down to around 50, and both of those things turned out just right. The RSI is at 54 right now. Let's talk about this Fibonacci golden pocket, which goes from 62,000 to 27,000. From my point of view now, it's okay that we're moving things around on this range. If we keep going for a little while longer, we might even build a base. This Fibonacci golden pocket needs to be held on to, and a short-term break below 62,000 USD would be another sign that prices are going down. This is a look at the bigger levels of support and resistance for Bitcoin. Of course, we were recently turned down from this trend line at a rough 64.2 thousand. Once more, as I already said, I think we'll likely go to the bottom of this big level of support, which goes from 60,000 to 62.4 thousand if we lose the 62,000 level around here. And if we lose 60,000 as a level of support, the next big level of support for the Bitcoin price is between 58,000 and 56,000 US dollars. On the other hand, we might still only see this as an amount of support. That hidden bearish divergence I was talking about is no longer true, and in the short term, we just take off and keep going up. In that case, this 0.786 Fibonacci level at 65.5 thousand is one possible level to keep an eye on. There is also this Fibonacci level right here, which is the one that is at $65,000 USD. Now, I do want to talk about a message I saw yesterday that I thought was pretty harsh here, saying it can go up and down. I think it's a good idea to answer that quickly. As a general rule, when there's choppy sideways price action over the weekend like the one we just had, this is how I look at it. Remember that I'm making a movie ahead of time of what I think will happen in the next 24 to 48 hours. Plus, it's clear that I don't have a crystal ball that lets me see what will happen next. So when prices are going up and down and we're trading right on top of a key level of support, I think it would be strongly negative if we lost it. And if we keep it, it's clear that we can always go up even more. While this Fibonacci golden spot is important for Bitcoin, I think the 62,000 level is even more so. Also, when you're just chopping on that important level of support, the best thing I can do to help you is give you both the bearish and the positive case. After that, all we have to do is wait for this conditional situation to get better, right? Always know that I have a strong view and a clear picture of what I think will happen. But on a weekend like this one, when we are just seeing chop on that important level of support, I need to tell you both sides of the story until the market tells us for sure what's going on around this level of support, right? So let's hope we hear back tonight or maybe on Monday. After that, we can talk about different levels of support and pushback as well as what we think will happen next. Now we'll look at the Bitcoin sale heat maps. To begin with, let's talk about the week. As you can see, there is a lot of movement both up and down. This is what you would expect to see after a couple of days of price action that has been choppy and flat. Any way you look at it, we are now getting close to this big amount of liquidity, which is about 62.3K. That being said, I think it's very likely that we will take out this amount of cash. However, there is also that upside liquidity at 64.3 thousand. Also, I'd like to say that once the CME exchange starts up again, I think we'll be able to take advantage of this liquidity to the upside at some point if we don't lose 62,000 as a level of support. But I think the bigger picture is that we need to think about all of this downside liquidity if we see that red candle close and no strong bounce on the lower periods. There are a lot of them, about $500 million worth of long bets, are just sitting here waiting to be sold for about $57,000. And there's a lot of money moving from about 63,000 all the way down to here. At this point, it's still possible that we don't grab this and instead go straight up from here, setting new all-time highs or something. Of course, it's possible, right? Now, let's say that you get the opposite of that. Do you see that? Confirmation of a hidden bearish split. Then you can see the turnaround and we take all of this cash to the downside. The question is whether you could have seen this coming if you had looked back at the situation after the fact, after all of this money had been taken out. To that question, the answer is yes, since the charts show that danger light flashing. There is still room for the RSI to go down, for example, in the 1-day or 4-hour window, and there is some liquidity to go down. Without a doubt, I believe the signs are clear if we see that turnaround and lose 62,000 as a level of support. But let me know if you think I'm totally wrong and that the price of Bitcoin will only go up from here and go straight to $80,000. Last but not least, let's look at this week's Bitcoin ETF flow charts. We had a lot of net arrivals last week, and as I always say on the show, if hundreds of millions of dollars flow into these Bitcoin ETFs every single weekday, then the price of Bitcoin will obviously go up. We see over $100 million worth of Bitcoin being bought every single weekday. If this trend really continues this coming week, then it's likely that we will hold this level of support and basically bounce to the upside and blast even higher, taking advantage of the current high to get a lot of cash. That's all for today's market report. Do not forget to join the Road to 1 Million group. I already told you that it's free and you can also get my trading tips here for free. Whether you decide to join or not, thanks again for watching and I'll see you tomorrow in the next one.